You ever have one of those neighbors who makes you question why humans invented suburbs? Yeah, that was Karen. She wasn't just any Karen. She was the Karen, president of our HOA, the kind of woman who'd measure your grass with a ruler and leave a passive-aggressive note if it was half an inch too long. I'm Jake, by the way, just a guy trying to live quietly in this cookie-cutter neighborhood in suburban Ohio, where the houses all look like they're auditioning for a Better Homes and Gardens cover. I moved here 2 years ago, bought a modest 2-story with a big backyard, and started raising a small flock of chickens. 6 hens, to be exact. Betsy, Clara, and the gang scratching around in a tidy coop I built myself. They gave me fresh eggs, a bit of peace, and honestly, they were better company than most people around here. The backyard was my sanctuary green grass, a wooden deck with a grill, and the soft clucking of my girls under the oak tree. Life was good until Karen decided my chickens were a violation. It started with a letter. Not even a knock on the door. Just a crisp envelope slipped under my mat, stamped with the HOA's logo. Dear Mr. Thompson, it read, per Section 3.2.7 of the HOA bylaws, livestock is prohibited within community premises. Livestock. My 6 hens were hardly a barnyard. I laughed it off, thinking it was a misunderstanding. I went to Karen's house. Her place was impossible to miss, with its perfectly trimmed hedges and a mailbox shaped like a lighthouse. I knocked, and she answered in a floral cardigan, her smile as fake as her spray tan. Jake, darling, she said, rules are rules. Chickens bring pests, noise, and lower property values. I tried explaining they were quiet, cleaner than her yappy chihuahua, and that the eggs were a hit with the neighbors. She just pursed her lips and said, take it up at the next HOA meeting. Spoiler, I did. Nobody cared except Karen, who steamrolled the discussion with her gavel like she was judge and jury. A week later, I came home from work to find my coop empty. The gate was unlatched, the hens gone. My stomach dropped. I stormed to Karen's, heart pounding, and there she was, sipping iced tea on her porch like she hadn't just committed grand theft poultry. Where are my chickens? I demanded. She didn't even flinch. Relocated, she said, smirking. HOA rules. Jake, I had every right. I was livid. She claimed she'd sent them to a sanctuary farm, but wouldn't give me the name. My girls were gone, and she acted like she'd done me a favor. I checked the bylaws later. Nothing gave her the right to steal my property. But Karen had the HOA board in her pocket, and the neighbors most were too scared of her clipboard tyranny to back me up. Except for 2 Mrs. Delaney, the sweet old widow next door who'd loved my eggs, and Tyler, the 20-something guy across the street who thought Karen was a total buzzkill. I stewed for days. Losing my chickens wasn't just about the eggs. It was personal. Karen had crossed a line, and I wasn't about to let her waltz away with that smug grin. I needed to plan something petty, legal, and glorious. Tyler was all in when I told him I wanted to hit back. Dude, she's the worst, he said, cracking a beer. What's the play, Mrs. Delaney, bless her, overheard us plotting on my deck and shuffled over with her walker. That woman's been a thorn in my side since she fined me for my petunias being too pink, she grumbled. Give her hell. Jake. That's when the idea hit me. Karen loved her beauty sleep. She'd bragged about her 8-hour routine at an HOA meeting. What's the one thing that had ruined her morning's Roosters? lots of them. Crowing at 4 like an avian alarm clock from hell. The plan came together fast. Tyler knew a guy who knew a guy, a farmer an hour away selling roosters cheap. We pooled some cash, and by the next weekend, we'd bought 100 roosters. Yeah, 100. Go big or go home. Right. The farmer thought we were nuts, but didn't ask questions. We rented a van, loaded the birds in crates, and drove back under cover of night. Mrs. Delaney, our lookout, texted us updates about Karen's lights going off at 10 p.m. sharp. At 3 a.m., we parked a block away, hearts racing like we were pulling off a heist. Tyler and I hauled the crates to Karen's backyard, her perfect lawn glowing under the moonlight. We set up a makeshift sign I'd painted HOA Can't Stop This Flock in bold red letters, staked it in her garden, and then here's the twist, release the roosters. Not quietly. We tipped the crates, and those birds exploded out, squawking, flapping, and scattering like feathered chaos. One rooster, a big black one with a comb like a crown, perched on Karen's patio table and let out a crow that could have woken the dead. By 4 a.m., the neighborhood was a symphony of crowing. Karen's lights flicked on, and through her window, I saw her silhouette, arms flailing. She burst onto her lawn in a bathrobe, screaming. What the hell is this? Tyler was doubled over, laughing behind a bush. Mrs. Delaney, peeking over her fence, gave me a thumbs up. Karen tried shooing the roosters, but they just strutted around, crowing louder. Neighbors started poking their heads out, some annoyed, some grinning. Karen called the cops, but by the time they showed up, we were back in my house, sipping coffee like nothing happened. The best part, the bylaws didn't mention roosters. Karen's own rules screwed her over. She couldn't touch me. The fallout was epic. Karen spent days trying to round up the roosters, but those birds were unstoppable. Some escaped to other yards. Others roosted in her trees. Her pristine lawn trashed. Her sleep non-existent. The HOA board got an earful from her, but nobody could pin it on me, no proof. Just her word against mine. Mrs. Delaney baked me cookies, and Tyler high-fived me every time we passed. Karen's reign of terror took a hit. People started ignoring her nitpicky fines. I never got my chickens back, and that still stings. But watching Karen lose her mind was worth it. Sometimes, you gotta fight petty with petty. If you've got a Karen in your life, don't just take it. Get creative, and even the score. Just make sure it's legal and loud enough to wake the neighborhood. The end.